Flavia, we're talking about the Pope's encyclical here focused on AI for the uninitiated, the non-Catholics among us.
I am a Catholic and I didn't know what this is. So.
I'm doing this for all of you. Explain what the encyclical is, why this is so important that he's doing this.
Sure. Good morning to you. Well, the encyclical, it's the most official act, basically, of a pope. It's something that generally includes some of the priorities of a papacy. So in this case, it's particularly interesting the fact that it actually chose this particularly very specific subject. We'll talk about this in a moment. I just want to point out, if it's possible, the fact that the Pope will be present at the presentation of the revealing of this encyclical tomorrow at the Vatican. And this is quite a first, because it's probably the first time of a Pope in the modern era, in a modern age, presenting his own encyclical worldwide and to all people in the world. So it's quite a very I would say significant fact.
I mean, shout out to producer Patrick Becker who put this on our radar. But what have encyclicals been like in the past, and why do we think he specifically chose AI? Not one to shy away from controversial topics as Pope.
Sure. He already spoke about AI in the past, I would say. Since the very beginning of his pontificate last year, he actually touched this subject many times. Most recently, also in a conference, he kind of underlined the fact that it is really important to try to understand where his technology is going in order also to form the younger generations, try to use the criticism also, and try to make the most of it, because we don't expect, of course, the contents of this encyclical are still not known specifically. We will know tomorrow, but we don't expect something just like an essay on the artificial intelligence. We expect more something like how we can use this incredible tool, what opportunities, but also what are the risks, and how this is changing our lives, how this is changing the way we work, we relate, what kind of development we can imagine at some point, and of course, what kind of moral issues, what kind of spiritual, social impact this might have.
It's called Magnificent Humanity. Magnifica Humanitas, yes. I believe is the title. My Latin is rusty. We're going to go with that.
It's better than mine.
Flavia, talk a bit more about his engagement, the Pope's engagement with this subject. So I understand that the co-founder of Anthropic, the AI company, is going to be there with the Pope when this happens tomorrow. Again, Christina mentioning that he's not shying away from dealing with a lot of these, yes, controversial topics, but I think important social topics of the age. Talk a bit more, if you would, just about his level of engagement here in the world of AI, the way that he's approaching it, and how in the first year of his papacy here, he's elevating the importance of this as something that he wants all Catholics to be discussing, debating, and talking about.
Well, let's just say yes. I must say that, of course, the discussion of artificial intelligence within the Vatican had been, of course, becoming more frequent, if you want, in the last few years, given the fact that, of course, the development of the AI itself has been, kind of had quite an acceleration. But this is not a first. I would just point it out that Pope Francis too, for example, spoke about AI and the risk of AI in 2024 at G7 in Italy, and also back in 2016. Italian media, were reporting this quite clearly in the last few days. The Vatican started discussions, actually invited it back in 2016, some scientists, some experts, some researchers from the Silicon Valley to the Vatican, and they started what they called Minerva dialogues. So a kind of informal but cyclical discussions on the development of this science, but technology in general, and also the impact, the possible impact, again, on social life, on moral issues. So I must say that is, the Catholic Church has been quite on the front line on this for a while.
Flavia, quickly before I let you go, I do want to ask you if there's any updates on the contentious relationship between the Pope and the White House. Obviously, we had the Vice President saying that the Pope should be careful when he talks about matters of theology. We had the President saying that he's weak on crime. I know Marco Rubio met with the Pope earlier this month to try to smooth things out. We got about 30 seconds here, but did he succeed, and how's that going?
It seems they succeed. I mean, of course, there was a formal statement after that saying that relations were strong, and definitely, I think that everybody more or less stay on the same principles as before. But the idea that they met and they say that there's going to be and they're going to stay some common ground, I think it was pretty much significant at that point. So yes, I think it definitely helped.